I love fake Halloween. Hello and welcome to Voice of the Fat Mantis. I am your host, and I am inviting you to travel down with me. A little thing we call Wandavision, Episode 6, Breakdown and Analysis. The episode is called The All-New Halloween Spooktacular, and it lived up to that because it was spooky at times. It continued having shades of horror when it's mostly lighthearted family sitcom fun, and I enjoyed every moment of it. Now, the episode starts off in 90s sitcom universe. Now, what happened to the sitcom in the 90s was very tragic. In the 90s, art in general on television and the movies became darker and grittier, and people thought everything of the old school ways were cheesy, and therefore they abandoned the family fun of the sitcom. Instead, they embraced sitcoms which were about single people or hipsters or people having fun, like Friends or Seinfeld or Girlfriends or something like that. And basically, it was scarce to see these family things. So they start off this episode of WandaVision doing homage to Malcolm in the Middle's intro. Unfortunately, Malcolm in the Middle wasn't in the 90s. It was started in the year 2000, which I'm going to have to say is a fail on your part, WandaVision crew. You had one simple task, and it was adapt each decade's sitcoms. And you failed at that task. You missed the 90s by a long shot. The entire episode remains in a Malcolm in the Middle type homage because it has certain narrative features, such as the children being able to talk to the camera and break the fourth wall and explain what's going on with their parents. It still was a wonderful episode, as I love that there's still sex appeal and an attraction between Vision and the Scarlet Witch, and they were very much still sexually into each other, which is always great to see from a couple, especially that couple, or really, especially from Elizabeth Olsen and anyone, really. But I'm just going to say that Evan Peters is an amazing addition to the crew. He plays off them very well, and he is an excellent, very skilled, versatile actor, and he lives completely up to it. Of course, he is not playing exactly Fox Quicksilver, but he's not exactly MCU either. So he's somewhere in the middle, and he has shades of darkness, which we'll be getting into in just a minute. But so far, the ensemble cast was awesome. We also had a lot more driving the plot forward, particularly with S.W.O.R.D. and what they're up to. And it's going to eventually reveal the hidden villain or villains of the story. So this is very fun. My verdict is I give this episode a 92. Way to go, Marvel. Once again, I'm going to have to watch this a third time. So into it. Now, getting into theories, this is a tale of two villains. There are apparently two evil forces trying to ruin our couple's family fun. The first one is the magical elements within WandaVision's hometown of Westview. That's right, there's something magical going on, clearly, and clearly Agnes is part of this. She's one of their minions, and it's becoming very clear that Quicksilver is. As throughout the episode, he's constantly dropping words like hell and Satan and demon spawn and all these things constantly throughout it. Also, he drops the idea that she is good at creating nightmares, aka her telepathic attacks. And later on, Hayward would also say that everyone living in there is a living nightmare. This is referenced. So it is possible that these villains are either Mephisto or Nightmare or some amalgamation, but it's clearly a mystical one. Meanwhile, on the outside of the bubble, we have S.W.O.R.D., and it would seem that Hayward and his entire crew's real plan is not to save the people of Westview, but to steal the technology that is the Vision. In episode 4, they foreshadowed this by the fact that Monica pointed out that they started building all sorts of technological weapons rather than exploring space and meeting aliens like they should be. So it's clear that they're really only after the villain, and I believe that he is either working for AIM or working for Ultron. So here's how it goes. During his rant against Monica in the middle of the thing, Hayward says, "You don't know what we had to do to keep the lights on." And so that reveals it right there. What did he do? Did he cut a deal with a devil? Now, it is unlikely they would meet some sort of mystical force like Mephisto. That's Wanda's turf. However, it would appear that he may have done a deal with possible AIM, or perhaps Ultron. Is it possible that the US government restarted Ultron in an attempt to get his technological secrets, and instead he took over the agency that was supposed to be controlling him? Remember, he has no strings. I have a feeling we're going to see him again, or again in the MCU, but for the first time in WandaVision within the next 2 episodes. Now, this episode does an excellent job of doing sitcom horror. And what do I mean by that? Well, in sitcom horror Halloween specials, very often there's always something horror element to it. Of course, it's a Halloween special. Whether it's supernatural, sometimes hinted to be supernatural, or completely not supernatural at all, like the characters get mugged or something scary happens to our characters. And it happens with Vision, as he engages in one of the 4 pillars of superheroism or vigilanteism, and that is sleuthery. That's right, he starts acting like a detective and he wanders off and he's walking around the town, and there's this scary moment when you start noticing that everyone is moving either slow and eventually not moving at all, and it would appear that proximity to Wanda is what makes the populace active, and apparently they're in some sort of catatonic state when there's no use for them. There was a failure of the episode that they didn't put spooky music on while he's discovering this. They had quirky music. And I understand, he's walking around the suburbs, but it's a Halloween episode, so you should have gone with it. The true horror happens when he meets up with Agnes. He finds her on the edge of town, and she's catatonic, and she starts muttering. And that's when he wakes her up, she reveals that he's dead. And she continues to repeat, "You're dead. You're dead. You're dead." And even though I'm not scared for him at all, Vision is practically invincible. Hey, he just came back from the dead. I was still scared. I was literally scared. That was a well done scene. And which brings us to a double theory here. So, is it possible that Agnes was faking that catatonic state and was trying to drive a wedge between Scarlet Witch and Vision? After all, what she did is just prompt him and urge him to break through the barrier. This idea, salivating in his mouth about the idea of leaving, she's like, we're not even allowed to think about leaving, is going to make someone say, well, what if I leave? He was dared to do it, and he did it. So it is possible she was completely faking, because it's, after all, Agnes is clearly in more control than she lets on without the series. There's another theory that might be popping up, is the idea that even the witches of the town, as there might be Agnes or possibly more in there, are they victims of Wanda? If she wasn't faking, if Agnes really was in a catatonic state, is she really Wanda's bitch? Is that really possible? And maybe Wanda is draining their energy. I want to point to the commercial for just a minute. This is the commercial where the shark comes out in claymation form, and he offers the kid, he says, oh, you're starving? I've been snacking on yo magic, which is clearly an analogy for Wanda's magic. The boy's unable to open the lid, aka crack the seal of the magic, so then he dies. Now this could tell us that if Wanda doesn't break her spell, they're all gonna die and they're doomed. Or she could be the shark, and she has been snacking on other witches' magic. Just a theory, guys. Now let's get into Quicksilver. Quicksilver is really weird because he doesn't seem to have any of the memories of either the Fox one or the MCU one. He claims to have the memories of the MCU one, but when tested on this, the only thing he seems to know is common knowledge thing, like he was shot in the streets. I am very, very sure that he is who we think he is, not Quicksilver, that he is the devil. Maybe he was Ralph. Maybe on he will reappear in a different costume as Ralph later on down the line. But Evan Peters' character is up to no good. Do not trust him, which is a shame. I wanted him to stick around. I like him as Quicksilver. And finally, it ends on a crazy twist when she increases the power of the hexagon, and it grows over the entire sword encampment, transforming them all into clowns in a circus. This is nutty. It's clearly going to be the main vehicle for next episode, which is going to be the Modern Family, the 2000s. A year of it. I really can't wait to check that one out. People have all sorts of theories about Darcy or what she's going to do. Some people think she's going to have green hair in there. Others think she's going to be a cowgirl because of her cowgirl shirt on the poster for WandaVision. We'll find out, but I'm intrigued. Now let's who's coming down the pipeline? We know that there is a Luke Skywalker-esque cameo. So obviously we've already discussed Ultron could be one of them. James Spader returning would be a great addition to the cast. Another one is Magneto. I've said this before, and that's the one I want. I really want. I'm hoping Fassbender is the Magneto, and he returns as Magneto. That would be awesome. The other one is possible that I've said before as well. Captain Marvel. If they're going to do another flashback episode, possibly having to do with Monica's life, we might see Captain Marvel in a flashback. That's very possible. But I suggest a fourth wild card. This is a slim percentage chance, but is a chance at all. Captain America is one of them. Absolutely. So the whole deal with Captain America is because in the trailer they show Wanda manipulating the Mind Stone, and it looks like a flashback. It doesn't look like new scenes, but actually something had happened in the past. Now, last time we saw all the Infinity Stones, it was Captain America was returning them to the rightful owners, and the rightful owner of the Mind Stone is Vision. Is it possible that Vision, being dead and unable to protect it, he gave the stone to Wanda? It's a possibility. And that if they do a flashback episode and we see how this whole thing was created, it's possible we could see Chris Evans make a short appearance handing her off the Mind Stone. So that's a possibility. But what do you think it is? Who do you think will be the surprise Luke Skywalker-esque cameo appearance that's going to blow our mind? Please let me know down in the comments. Do you like fake Halloween? Do you like real Halloween? Discuss your theories, everything, your feelings, thoughts, and feelings, all appreciated down in the comments. I love you all. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Remember to keep tuning in to Voice of the Fat Mantis for more breakdowns, reviews, and analysis. Until next time, happy fake Halloween.